I spent the last 3 years of my lifting journey training to mild discomfort, and it wasn't until I actually started training to failure I started making more gains faster than ever before. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually train to failure so that you can make more gains faster than ever from before. I went from like a skinny fat brown kid to a more jacked version of me, like 20 pounds heavier, and I want to help you get there too. So basically, my story is just I trained to mild discomfort and did too much high volume. And I never actually challenged myself because as everyone like the fitness media or whatever, they were telling me volume is the main driver hypertrophy. You don't need to go to failure that often. Just focus on 4x12, 3x12 sets and you'll grow. And I did that. I listened to all their advice and I had like a mediocre physique. I stayed mid. I stayed mild. I stayed mild because I never really challenged myself in the gym. I never went beyond my limits because that's how you grow. I never did that. And not only did I not do that, is that I did too much volume on top of that. Because again, one of like the main key principles in like lifting is that if you want to get bigger, you need to get stronger because a stronger muscle is a bigger muscle and a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. So the two go hand in hand. But I didn't know that in my early years of training. So I just did high volume, doing 4x12. I had like a spreadsheet that showed like had all my workouts and I had like 28 sets for like a pull day or I think it was an upper body day. I'll put it somewhere here. I had that and I had like 28 sets because I was so convicted or not convicted, but like I wanted to get the 10 to 20 weekly sets that everybody was telling me to get because 10 to 20 is the most optimal for muscle growth and blah 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 whatever. It's not, but that's what I kept doing and I just trained to mild discomfort because I never really gave myself a challenge to get stronger. Because again, if you want to get bigger, you need to get stronger. You need to give your muscles a reason to grow. So why should you train to failure? Well, I can give you two reasons like right off the bat. The first one being is that when you train to failure, you give your muscles a reason to grow. Imagine like your muscles won't grow if you give it unless you give it a reason to grow because the way that you should think about it is that if you can bicep curl 5 pounds with ease, right? It's already easy. You don't need to do extra effort. Your body doesn't need to grow. It doesn't need to get stronger because it's already easy. Or now, if you compare it to 30 pounds or 45 pounds, you can't really curl it as easy because it's not that easy, right? It's heavier weight. And so when you get that heavier weight and you're struggling to bicep curl, you're struggling to get a couple reps in, your body's like, oh shit, that's actually hard. I need to get stronger. I need to get this muscle to get stronger and bigger so that it can actually start to grow and it can make this 45-pound bicep curl easier. And then like the second reason is that a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle and vice versa. Now, this quote or this point I completely got from Mike Menser because if you don't know, Mike Menser was like an old school bodybuilder in the I think 80s bronze era of that time, and he would used to say that a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle and a stronger muscle is a bigger muscle. He was like really known for like training 2 hours per week in the gym. Yeah, 2 hours a week in the gym. That's like 4 30-minute sessions. That's all he did. And he got pretty huge. And of course, like he was on gear, but like others, so were the Arnold, but like Arnold was like, he was like doing 2 workouts a day, doing 20 sets. He'd go like bench press, and you gotta do the dips, then you gotta do the flies. He had like so much shit. Whereas Mike Menzer, he did like one exercise to failure or sometimes beyond failure. And so when he says that a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle, you should listen to that because if you take a bench press from 135 to 225, the chest, right? If you take your bench from 135 to 225, your chest will 100% get bigger, right? It's without a question. Now, yes, there are some outliers who can be stronger without really being much bigger and vice versa. But again, those are the outliers, the exception. they're like the top 1% in genetics. If you're watching this video, you're brown, skinny fat, you're not that. You're like me, brown, skinny fat, sometimes had gyno, you look fat without your shirt off, or you look fat when you take your shirt off but look skinny with your shirt on. That you're not 1% genetics, you're not like top tier. And so what you should focus on if you want to get bigger muscles or look aesthetic is to get stronger, because again, as you get stronger and stronger on your lifts, again, you take your bench press from 135 to 225, your chest will by default just get bigger. You'll get massive bonkers. You'll get a massive chest if you just focus on getting stronger, i.e. progressive overload. Because again, as you get stronger, like this is your strength and this is your muscle. As you get stronger and stronger, your muscle will get bigger and bigger. So just kind of follow. So as you get stronger and stronger, your muscles will get bigger and bigger. So it will just keep following you, or as you get stronger and stronger, you get bigger and bigger. That's pretty much it. Also, you can get the bulking protocol. It's the first link in the description. Okay, so now that I've actually convinced you that you should train to failure, how do you actually, train to failure? Like, how do you do it? What rep scheme should you use? How many sets? All of that. I'm going to answer that right now. So the method that I'm going to show you, like that's incorporating going to failure, is called the two-set method. Now, the two-set method is really popular around weighted calisthenics, but the principles are the same. Even if you don't do weighted calisthenics, you just apply it to whatever exercise of your choice. So again, the two-set method. First step is you want to get like a comfortable weight that you can do for around 8 to 15 reps. Comfortable weight around 8 to 15 reps, because we want to hit failure, but this is also going to be how like we increase the weight over time. And ideally 8 to 10 reps is what you want for like that weight to be. Now, on the first set that you do, so the first set, you want to go to failure around the 8 to 10 rep range. How bad? You want to go to failure around the 8 to 10 rep range, because the hypertrophy limit is between 8 to 30, probably closer to 8 to 15. So as long as you get 8 to 10, you're golden, you're fine. So once you get the first set, you go to failure, 100% failure. Don't be too bummed if you get less than, I don't know, 8 reps. That just means that the next workout you have to do that same weight again and go to the 8 to 10 mark again. So now that you've got 8 reps or 10 reps, whatever you choose, right? You can choose any number between this, which is just 9. You can choose 8 or 10. But okay, once you've got the number in my head, as an example, let's say I'm doing weighted dips for 45 pounds, right? I get 10 reps, right? Now, my goal is to get 10 reps. If I get less than 10 reps, all that means is that my next push day, or the next time that I'm doing weighted dips, that I just need to do the same weight again. Now, if I get more than 10 reps, I get 11 reps, maybe 12 reps. That means the next time that I do weighted dips, I can increase the weight by 5 or 10 pounds. After your first set is over, you're done, you want to rest 5 to 7 minutes. Now, you might think that's crazy because you probably been resting 1 minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But the reason why you want to rest for 5 to 7 minutes is because this first set is going to take so much out of you, and you're going to have to do that same shit all over again on the second set. So take your time. You don't rush into your set. Just rest 5 to 7 minutes and you will be fine. Because again, you're training to failure, you're giving your muscles a reason to grow. You're actually challenging yourself compared to whatever you were doing before this, right? Because like again, when I first started, I wasn't challenging myself. I just do 4 sets of 12 on bicep curls and just rest 90 seconds. That's what I was doing. But now that you're doing this, just rest 5 to 7 minutes, because again, your muscles going through a lot of strain, and again, just rest 5 to 7 minutes. Now, once your rest is done, your second set, reduce the weight by 20 to 25%, because we're going to go for more reps, which you can see 12 to 15. Now, again, my rule of thumb is if you do 8 reps on the first set, do 12 on the second set, without guarantee the 20 to 25% less reduction in weight. If you do 10, do 15. If you do, I don't know, 9 reps on the first set, just choose between 13 or 14. Again, don't take these numbers as like absolute or obsolete. You can like change these numbers however you want, but the problem is that if you keep the weight the same in like the first set, you most likely can't give it your best effort for the hypertrophy like rep range of like 8 to 15 in the second set. So this is why we reduce the weight so that we can get the most of like hypertrophy in the second set. So yeah, again, the second set, just keep the weight 20 to 25% less than your first set. So I'll just give you the whole example. Let's say that I'm doing weighted dips again, right? On the first set, I'm going to choose 45 pounds because that's like the weight I can get for 8 to 15 reps. I do that. Now, on the first set, I get 10 reps. All right, that means I can go up in weight the next time I do weighted dips. But now I need to like rest 5 to 7 minutes because, again, that was like a very challenging set. And so I rest my 5 to 7 minutes. I go to my second set. I reduce the weight by 20 to 25%. So that might be I get 40 pounds on or 37.5 pounds on. Whatever, just choose whichever like works for you. Once you got your weight, your rest is over. I'm gonna go because I did 10 reps in the first set right here. I'm gonna go for 15 reps because 10 to 15. Now, let's say I don't get 15 reps with 40 pounds. I don't get that. What that means is just that increase the weight for your first set, go up in weight in the next workout, but just keep the weight the same in your second set until you get the rep mark. So okay, the major thing is that you shouldn't really be increasing the weights until you hit like your rep goals. It's basically like the whole point of the 2-set method, so that you consistently milk out the hypertrophy of like your muscles as they get tired and tired throughout like the whole workout. And again, that's like pretty much the entire 2-set method. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I will answer them. But yeah, honestly, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video and you want more information about bulking or whatnot, or how to get 20 pounds heavier, I have the Bulk King protocol. It's the first link down below in the description. But yeah, peace.